There's a question almost every man has asked himself at some point. Does size actually matter? And here's the truth. It's not the question you think it is. Because the real issue isn't about being big or small. It's about compatibility. And most men have no idea that sexual compatibility has as much to do with anatomy as it does with technique. Today, I'm breaking down what science actually says about size, what women prefer, and why the perfect fit matters more than the perfect measurement. And by the end of this, you'll understand something most men never learn: how to figure out if you and your partner are physically compatible before things get awkward. I'm Dr. Fiona Gray, your trusted men's health advisor, and make sure you watch closely because what I'm about to share in the middle of this video will completely change how you think about sexual satisfaction. If you want to understand what actually creates pleasure for women, not myths, not locker room talk, but real science, hit that subscribe button because we're going deep today. All right, let's start with something fascinating. In ancient Chinese culture, matchmakers didn't just consider personality or family background. They actually looked at physical compatibility. They used facial features and hand size to estimate whether two people would be sexually compatible. Now, obviously, that's not scientifically proven, but the concept behind it, that was actually smart. They understood something modern couples often ignore. Physical mismatch can create problems in the bedroom. If a man is significantly larger or smaller than his partner's anatomy can comfortably accommodate, it doesn't matter how much attraction exists. The physical experience is going to be uncomfortable for one or both people. So let's talk about what science actually tells us. Because there have been legitimate studies on this, and the findings might surprise you. First, let's address the elephant in the room. Does size matter? The short answer is yes, but not in the way most men think. It's not about being the biggest, it's about being the right fit for your partner. Research shows that only about 18% of women can reach orgasm through penetration alone. The majority of women need direct clitoral stimulation to climax. So if you're worried that size is the only thing that matters, relax. Technique, communication, and understanding her anatomy matter way more. But here's where it gets interesting. There is a subset of women who prefer penetration and can orgasm from it. And for those women, size does make a difference. Not necessarily length, but girth. Studies show that women who prefer vaginal orgasms tend to prefer a thicker penis because it provides more internal stimulation and pressure. Now, here's something most men don't know. There's actually an anatomical reason why some women can orgasm from penetration and others can't. It has to do with the distance between the clitoris and the vaginal opening. A French researcher in the 1920s, Princess Marie Bonaparte, believe it or not, studied over 200 women and measured the distance between their clitoris and vaginal opening. Her hypothesis? The closer those two structures are, the more likely a woman is to orgasm during penetration. And she was right. If the distance between a woman's clitoris and vaginal opening is less than 2.5 centimeters, she's significantly more likely to climax during penetration. Why? Because when those structures are close together, penetration naturally stimulates the entire clitoral complex, not just the visible part. Most people don't realize this, but the clitoris isn't just that small external button. It's actually a large internal structure with legs that extend down along the vaginal walls. When everything is close together, penetration stimulates all of those nerve endings. When things are spaced further apart, penetration doesn't hit those spots as effectively. So what does this mean for you? It means that fit matters. A snug fit, where your size matches her anatomy, creates more friction, more stimulation, and ultimately more pleasure for both of you. Now let's talk about what women actually prefer, because there have been studies on this, and the results are pretty consistent. One study looked at sex toy purchases in the UK. The idea was simple. Women buy toys in the size and shape they enjoy most. What did they find? The most popular toys had an average circumference of about 4.8 inches, which is right around the average erect penis girth of 4.6 inches. So when it comes to girth, women tend to prefer average. But length? Women did favor slightly longer toys, around 7 inches compared to the average erect length of about 5.2 inches. So there is a preference for a bit more length, but not dramatically so. Another study used 3D printed models and asked women to choose their ideal size. And here's where it gets really interesting. The preferred size varied depending on the type of relationship. For a one-night stand, women preferred a length of about 6.4 inches and a circumference of 5 inches. But for a long-term partner, they preferred slightly smaller, closer to 6 inches in length and 4.8 inches in girth. Why? Because women don't want to feel sore and worn out from frequent sex with a long-term partner. A larger size might be exciting once, but it's not comfortable multiple times a week. So if you're on the larger side, don't be surprised if women enjoy the experience but aren't rushing to make it a regular thing. Here's what all of this research tells us. The ideal size for most women is right around average, about 6 to 6.5 inches in length and 4.5 to 5 inches in girth. If you're in that range, you're compatible with the majority of women. If you're significantly larger, you're going to need to be more careful, use more foreplay, and understand that some positions might be uncomfortable for her. And if you're smaller, focus on positions that create more friction and deeper penetration. And remember that clitoral stimulation is your best friend. Now here's the question you can ask to figure out if you and your partner are compatible before things get physical. It's simple, but it works. Do you prefer orgasm through penetration or through oral stimulation? If she says penetration, she's more likely to prefer a thicker, slightly longer penis. If she says oral or clitoral stimulation, size matters way less because her primary pleasure center isn't internal. That one question can save you both a lot of confusion and help you understand how to approach intimacy in a way that works for her body. Here's the bottom line. Size matters, but not in the way you think. It's not about being the biggest guy in the room. It's about understanding your partner's anatomy, communicating openly, and focusing on compatibility, not comparison. The men who understand this don't obsess over measurements. They focus on what actually creates pleasure: foreplay, communication, technique, and paying attention to her body's responses. Because at the end of the day, the best size is the one that fits her comfortably and stimulates her effectively. If this changed how you think about size and compatibility, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment and tell me one thing you learned today. I read every single one. Thanks for watching and take care of yourselves.